What is the most low effort, random junk, just straight up trash Tesla coil I can possibly build? Small, poorly wrapped secondary coil? Yeah, trash coil. Alright, now we need a secondary top load. A lot of times people use toroid shapes or spheres. Sphere might be a little easier in this case though. I wonder. Baseball. Power supply. Got a bunch of microwave oven transformers. The way people typically use microwave oven transformers to power Tesla coils is with a 2 microwave oven transformer voltage doubler to get it up around 8,000 volts. I'll add one more in as a ballast for a current limit. So let's build that. Anyone who works on electronics is probably looking at this and going, oh my god, just make some proper connectors. Ah man, it's a trash coil. Low effort. Primary coil. Some random scraps of wire here. Yeah, that'll work. Gap. Okay, now we gotta figure out this thing's resonant frequency, which is a function of the inductance of the primary coil, which is dependent on the number of turns and its size, and the capacitance of the top load with respect to the environment around it, which is a function of its shape and size. Then, we have to pick a number of turns and size of the primary coil and a tank capacitor on the primary circuit to match that resonant frequency. Drive it at as close to the real resonant frequency of the coil as we possibly can. So, we plug those numbers into some math, make the think box do a think real quick, and it comes up with about 1.1 megahertz for the resonant frequency. Okay, it's high, but makes sense for a little coil like this. Now if we have about 4 turns on the primary coil of that size, and then we want to match the resonant frequency, that gives us a primary capacitance of about 4 nanofarads. Okay, seems reasonable. Alright, full disclosure, if I was really invested in the junk coil, I would have made saltwater capacitors out of some old glass jars like this, wrap them in aluminum foil, fill them with salt water, and you get a really low capacitance but very high voltage capacitor. But I'm lazy, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to use these high voltage ceramic doorknob capacitors that I just happen to have laying around. Because everyone has random high voltage junk laying around in their basement, right? Right. Alright, moment of truth. Nothing. Oh. I bet I know what it is. So I calculated what the resonant frequency of the primary circuit should be, but I bet the inductance is actually higher because I've got all these extra coils of wire from the clip leads laying around. So I bet that the resonant frequency is actually too low for what the secondary wants. Let's try taking one of the capacitors out, drop the capacitance in half, and maybe that'll bring the resonant frequency back up. Well, it works. Not very well. It kind of fades off there after a second of running, if you noticed. I think what's happening is the spark gap, I don't have anything to quench the spark gap. So once that arc gets going, it doesn't interrupt and it doesn't dump power through the primary circuit. So I need something to quench that a little bit. Well, I tried blowing on it. It didn't quite seem to matter. I even took some of this air duster stuff and sprayed that on it, and I think there's just too much current there from those microwave oven transformers. Even with my current limiting with the extra transformer and the resistors, it's still too much because it just kind of maintains a flame. So yeah, that's probably not the right way to do it. I need something a little bit less current, and I need a better way to quench the arc. But we did it. We made a Tesla coil out of trash. It's absolutely terrible, but it works, right? So, mission accomplished.